called me the portable parking lot. But the profession I loved for over 25 years was being a cop. During my law enforcement career, I have been everything from a desk boy to a school resource officer, a field training officer, a gang crimes specialist in Chicago, a corporal, and a homicide major crimes detective in Clark County, Washington. In April of 2017, my life came crashing down. I had retired from law enforcement in 2010, and then began working as an account manager for the largest security firm in North America, Allied Security. I was struggling immensely at work, trying to keep up. I usually handled over 100 emails a day, plus still handled meetings, disputes, call-offs, interviews, payroll, budgeting, etc., for more than 85 security officers at 6 different sites. I thought I was going crazy or having a nervous breakdown. I suddenly was having nightmares, but not the kind you hear about from children. My 25 years in law enforcement all came rushing back into my head, all at once. Have you seen the movie A Beautiful Mind? I related to the main character who used thousands of sticky notes because his mind was always racing and he tried to keep up by putting everything down on sticky notes. I could no longer keep track of my brain. I was finding myself using sticky notes, plus, in this age of technology, making notes and setting alarms on my phone and making notes in my computer, all because I was having trouble concentrating, trouble keeping up. All of the things swarming in my head kept me from sleep for days on end. And I don't mean just, I get a cat nap once in a while. It was 3 to 4 days at a time sometimes with absolutely no sleep. I was battling many health issues, including being an insulin-dependent diabetic, dealing with osteoarthritis, degenerative bone disease, several surgeries that had since become painful, with a titanium plate in my neck, shoulder surgery on both shoulders, a heart attack, and neuropathy pretty bad in both feet and lower legs. In addition, at this particular point, I was forced to retire because I was unable to function at work. My income decreased by $2,500 net a month. Now, just think about that for a moment. That's about $30,000 a year net gone. I lost my health insurance. I had debts to pay that seemed insurmountable. I had no clue what was happening to me. I started having panic attacks. The big bad steel worker, the big bad truck driver, the big bad cop having panic attacks. And it got to the point I didn't want to go out of my house. I was finally diagnosed with severe PTSD, but really had no clue what that meant. I just had a diagnosis, but no way to get therapy because of the expense. Just this last December, I was contemplating eating my gun or killing myself. I had it sitting in my lap, my hand around the pistol grip with my finger indexed. I felt there was nowhere left to turn. Then God intervened in the form of what I call my guardian angels. For reasons I didn't know at the time, I didn't kill myself, obviously. I just find that an interesting comment every time I practice this. Instead, I texted a couple of friends of mine, John and Elaine, and asked if they were going to church in the morning. My friends responded that they were going to church and asked me to join them. At church, I learned of a group called Grief Share and decided to go. The class was designed to help you deal with loss, taught you all the things not only to expect, but to realize it was quite normal to feel the way you were feeling, that you were not alone in those feelings, that you were not abnormal, but quite the contrary. Through Grief Share, I had been learning there were numerous unresolved deaths in my life. Deaths, there we go. Which included not only all those associated with law enforcement, but with regard to the death of my dad, my mom, my brother, 2 kids who died in a fire I responded to and could hear them screaming but was unable to get to them, and my sergeant, who was murdered in an incident wherein I was injured, and to this day I still wonder if I was truly deserving of a Purple Heart Medal I was awarded. During one of the grief share meetings, I met a wonderful young lady named Trudy. Trudy heard my testimony and after the meeting, met up with me to give me a card with a number and name on it. The name was a counselor with Good Samaritan Ministries. Excuse me. Trudy told me they would have someone that specializes in treating PTSD, and most importantly, counseling was offered for donation only. Trudy already knew I had no insurance or money at that point, and she felt I would be able to get the help I was so desperately seeking. I called the number the next day to schedule an appointment. I later received a call from another one of the people I've since begun to call one of my guardian angels, my counselor at Good Samaritan Ministries. After that first session, I could immediately tell my counselor cared and that she believed wholeheartedly in what she was doing. She helped me understand PTSD and walked with me through the many of the toughest memories that were flooding my brain and taking over my body. At this point, you need to know that my faith in God was not very solid at all. Over the years, I had wavered constantly, consistently saying that I hoped and prayed there was a God. Well, that's kind of ironic. I'm praying. Who am I praying to if I don't think there's a God? But I didn't want to be a hypocrite and say, I believe, just because everyone else said it. On April 15, 2018, I accepted Christ into my life. Since that time, thank you. Since that time, I have had so many wonderful things happen to me, it has been almost overwhelming. More importantly, I now recognize the fact that it was God who intervened on my behalf. But not just that Saturday night when I was contemplating ending it all, and not just since April 15th, and not just since the day Trudy gave me the information I needed that would lead me to Good Samaritan Ministries. I now realize He's been with me my entire life and in so many situations. I just didn't see it at the time. The most important message I want to convey here today is this. To this day, I still do not have, nor can I afford health insurance, and Good Samaritan Ministries is still okay with that, thank God. Without Good Samaritan Ministries doing all that they do and not turning away those that can't afford to pay for the help they so desperately need, I truly feel I would not be standing here speaking to you today. In order to speak with me, it would most likely have been at my gravesite. You should also know that I referred someone else to my counselor at Good Samaritan Ministries, and I'm happy to report this person is now on their way to recovery as well. I thank God often for Good Samaritan Ministries, and I hope you'll help them to continue their work of helping people like me, people with nowhere else to turn. At this time, as I call your name, I ask that you please stand. However, since I'm only using first names, if you don't know me, please don't stand. Cindy, Frank, Sharon. Don't look around, I'm talking to you guys. Teresa, Trudy, Kent, Elaine, John, Julie. Yes, Julie, you back there. And Josephine. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you my guardian angels. I ask that you please give them and Good Samaritan Ministries some applause. All I got to say is thank you for your time.